Wow, it's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome to your Sales and Leadership Ninja Show. I'm your head ninja, Dean Akers, and each week I bring you a rant to stimulate your thinking in the realm of sales or leadership. Today's show is one that I've been sharing with my teams for years, and I title it Mikey Likes It. And the reason I title it kind of brings back a commercial that I saw years and years ago with a brand name cereal. And the commercial starts out with a bowl of cereal, and all the brothers are sitting around going, man, I don't want to eat the cereal's bad, da-da-da-da-da. And they know that the cereal's bad or whatever because they know Mikey won't like it. And when Mikey doesn't like it, they know it's not good or they don't like it. So they said, let's put it in front of Mikey. And they gave Mikey a bite of the cereal. And Mikey smiles and says, I like this. And that became the famous line of, Mikey likes it. So when Mikey liked it, all of a sudden, all the brothers liked it, and it was a done deal. So you're probably sitting there going, what in the world does this have to do with sales and or leadership or what we always talk about every week? So many times I run into a lot of you and even some of my own team members, and they run into difficult customers and they get frustrated. And when they get frustrated with them, they don't even want to do business with them. In fact, they'll go, look, that person's a pain in the butt. They're not worth doing business with, da-da-da-da-da. Now, if you were to isolate their exact transaction and set them over here and say, if you lost that transaction, does it really matter? Maybe it doesn't. However, I want to share kind of a more different approach to it that may make sense to you. We even had some recent customers that my team was telling me were such pains. We blocked them from our social posts and negative comments. They are always negative, blah, 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 blah. As some of you know, I'm new to this business that I just joined. And so I said, well, I'm going to call them. So the last week or so, I've been reaching out and talking to them and I've just been asking them, hey, I'm introducing myself, blah, 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 blah. And so I don't, and they go, well, people probably told you that I'm a pain or whatever. And I go, no, they didn't. Actually, I'm reaching out to you because I'm reaching out to our clients and just want to introduce myself and say hello. And as I introduced myself and found out a little about them, what I found out is they were not happy. But were they unhappy with the product? And here was what was interesting. And this has happened so many times. And the answer was they weren't unhappy with the product. And so as I listened to them and they just really wanted to be heard, we talked about it. I got what they wanted done. At any rate, that's a different story. But the reason I'm sharing this with you, and the reason this story is not about that customer or customers like that, what it is when you satisfy the most difficult customers and you get the most difficult customers happy, they become raving fans. And they are in many cases, if you're in the retail business, they'll actually be your biggest advocates. And they may not even be your advocates by posting. They're your advocates by saying, they took care of me. And here's the irony. The people around them know they're tough. So when they say they're happy, it's the biggest example you could have. And I'm going to tell you about a customer of mine years ago. I was in the construction business, and I just had been in this business a while, and I got this one job, and the guy that was head of this job, everybody said, oh, no, Dean, now you're with that guy, he'll ruin the job for you. He's the toughest guy. Nobody likes him. He doesn't like any contractors and blah, blah, blah. So when I met him, sure enough, he didn't like any contractor, he didn't trust any contractors, blah, 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 blah. And I basically asked him this. I said, blah, so I'll just call his name Jerry. I said, Jerry, what do you want? And he said, well, you're not going to give it to me. And I said, maybe not. But I didn't ask you what I wasn't going to give you. I asked you, what you wanted. Will you just share with me candidly what you want? So he started listing out all the stuff he wanted. And I said, okay, great. So I sat with our teams with this first job, and I knew what Jerry wanted. Guess what I did? I gave Jerry what he wanted. He wanted communication. He wanted to be heard. He wanted no excuses. He wanted the job on time. And I made sure our team understood his wants / probably all of our other customers. He was just more vocal about it. Well, we finished the project. Jerry was a raving fan. Jerry became one of my best customers, actually became a dear friend for many years, even after I got out of the industry. And the thing about Jerry is anytime Jerry needed somebody to get something done, guess who he called? That's right, he called me. He didn't sit there and go, I got to find somebody. He said, man, I got this difficult project. And there were several projects that he would call me up on, and I'd go in with these great projects and finish them up, do whatever he needed, and he was always happy. But that isn't really the value. The real value came about when I would be interviewing somebody for a big construction job, and they go, do you have any references? Well, this guy was legendary in this region as the toughest person to ever do business with. There wasn't a contractor that wouldn't say that. The engineering firms knew it. The owners knew it. And he had kind of a reputation. But I had built a relationship with him of taking care of him, making him happy, make sure, no matter what, what he wanted is what we need to give him. So when I would be interviewing people and they go, do you have any references? I'd say blah, 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 and Jerry, blah, blah, blah. And they would all go, wait a minute, did you just say Jerry, blah, blah, blah? And I go, yeah. Wait a minute, he would recommend you? Well, I don't know. I mean, you could call him. Guess what? Every time they called him, I always got the job, period. Because the community knew, or these developers knew, and these different people knew, is if there were 3 people to choose from and I could make him happy, they knew they would be happy. And so he helped me hyper grow my company. He never really understood that. But what my team knew, and what I'm sharing with you today, is your difficult customers are your best ones to have for you, because their opinions are always right. And you go, well, they're not always right. And I go, well, their are their opinions. So in their mind, they're always right. So that there lies the thing that they're always right. The old rule 1, the customer's always right. Rule 2, when the customer's wrong, go back to rule 1, which is the customer's always right. So they'll definitely have their opinions. Listen to them. Do anything possible to make them happy. One of our other companies locally, Public Supermarkets, is hallmarked for their customer service, and the customer's always right. You could bring a jug of milk in from 5 years ago, and it would clearly be 5 years old, spoiled milk from another company, and go, my milk's spoiled. And the bag boy or anybody in that place would go, let me go get you another fresh milk, ma'am or sir. And you'll get it, and you'll walk out of there, and they'll be out $1 something for milk or whatever. But guess what they will have? A customer for life, a customer that loves them, and the customer was right, and the customer in that case was clearly wrong. So this week, I'm driving that point home. I had it happen. I had some calls this week with clients. When they were heard, I really was able to find out some things we could do even better. And it's really going to help our company a lot. So here's your challenge. When you're thinking about it and you got tough customers, always remember the cereal story and Mikey Likes It. Again, thanks for tuning in each week. And remember to share this if it helps you. I can tell you that me sharing this with you helps me. It reinforces every week. My stories help me grow and gain confidence and understand that everything I share with you is genuine. It's from something that's happened, and I know it'll work for you. So I want everybody out there to have a great week. Talk to you next week.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanacres.com. Also, visit us at www.deanacres.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.